Hey guys, this is Ken315. I am back at it with another video for you guys, and I am back with some more Clippers game recap because our Clippers have, I would say, did their jobs today in securing a W against the Dallas Mavericks, at least cooling us down, calming us down a bit, you know, especially from yesterday night. And listen, it was a good win. It did get dicey at the end, but the Clippers, managed to pull it off this time. I literally was starting to look like the Milwaukee, the Boston, and the Wizards game, but good enough. I'll take it. The Clippers managed to pull off the game in a close game situation, thanks to essentially a Kawhi and one, and then obviously the Paul George dagger three that essentially sealed the deal and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the game, how I thought the Clippers did, and how the Clippers need to use this game as a starting point to get on a consistent basis of playing better. And I think one of the keys is maybe making a lineup decision or a lineup change decision that it seems like Ty Lue has already decided to make. And I think Ty Lue, I haven't been keeping up with the press conference of Ty Lue, but I think he needs to make one more lineup change, and maybe things won't be smooth sailing. We won't be good like 100% good, but definitely in a better position. Now, Clippers, obviously, we know, came into this game after getting humiliated, embarrassed, yada 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 from that Pelicans game that should have never freaking happened. And we know that typically the Clippers, they do well in these back-to-back responding games and stuff like that. And the Clippers beat the Dallas Mavericks by 10, 109-99. They're 7-0 on back-to-back, so that is good. So I guess that keeps that streak alive for the time being. But yeah, listen, the one thing that I wanted to see that was definitely much more of an improvement compared to the last game was the effort and the assertiveness and the commitment to defense. And definitely in that first quarter, we definitely did it. Now, Clippers ended up getting lazy and lackadaisical in the second quarter. They kind of played a lot better in the third quarter with a little bit of mixture of some laziness. In the fourth quarter, it's definitely started out pretty good. Then they hit a rough patch, and then but still kept that defensive intensity. And then they started to get another stride, where they broke away again, and then they went back to the whole hero ball ISO type of thing that we all do not like to see. But this time it kind of got bailed out thanks to a and one foul call, and obviously the dagger three by Paul George. But even in those late game clutch minutes, when they needed to get some stops and play some defense, they did get the stops and they did play the defense. You cannot deny that. Even if you aren't high right now on this team, if you're a Clippers fan. And that's all I got to say. Now, at the end of games, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, they got to find some sort of way to get more efficient shots. I don't understand why they go to this hero ball stuff. Do what got you there in the first place. If having ball movement and doing all this, getting these easy shots, help you, then good. Also, another thing, we went with the small ball lineup late in the game. This time, just like the Jazz game, it worked out, luckily. Again, I don't know why Ty Lue goes quickly to the small ball lineup to close out a game when he should have just left Zoo in the game. But okay, that's fine by me. Before I talk about the lineup changing, let me get into the rundown of the stats. Kawhi Leonard in 40 minutes, he was 9 from 20 from the field, only made one of his 3-point shots, finished with 22 points and 7 assists. Definitely what more you could ask for him to do. He gave his 22 points and stuff like that. Marcus Morris Sr., who came in to start for Nicholas Batum, and Ty Lue did say in his press conference that going forward, Marcus Morris will be the starting over Nicholas Batum going forward, so that's good to hear. 31 minutes, he went 6 from 11 from the field, hit two of his 6 3-pointers, had 4 assists, 6 rebounds, 14 points. Marcus Morris was productive. And I like the fact that they're now moving Marcus Morris into the starting lineup because I think, I like Nick Batum. Nick Batum has done good things for us, but I think Nick Batum can come off the bench now. I think it's time for Marcus Morris to get his starting spot back and be able to get heated up and be with this team. And I'll speak about how the team looked tonight. Reggie Jackson, 26 minutes, again, another productive effort, 12 points, 5-11 from the field, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. He had some pretty timely shots in the game and stuff like that. Really didn't do nothing late in the game, but hit some pretty timely shots. Paul George, who, if you ask me, was probably the worst Clipper on the floor today. Despite the fact that he struggled, and when I mean heavily struggled, to the point I was getting to the point, I was like, bruh, take this guy out of the fucking game. Well, good to Ty Lue for sticking to his guns and keeping Paul George out there, because if Paul George was benched, I don't think he hits that dagger 3-point shot. He was 5 from 18 from the field, hit 2 of his 6 3-pointers, one of them being the clutch dagger shot. Had 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 15 points. Now, again, like I said earlier, this was not the most pretty Paul George game. If not, you can say this was probably one of his worst games as a Clipper. At the same time, you can say it was probably his best game as a Clipper, because the one thing you saw compared to Paul George from last year when he was struggling and barely able to hit a basket, the difference was he kept being aggressive. He kept trying to go to the rim. He tried to put up a shot, and he stayed aggressive, compared to Paul George from last year, where he was kind of passive and he didn't do much of anything if the shot wasn't going. Still, regardless, his shot wasn't falling. He was still, playing some solid defense. And again, it's like, if your shot's not falling, make your defense try to translate to offense. In that one case, the defense translating to offense. And again, we can say that Paul George shot at the end to, hit the dagger was a lucky shot, but hey, all that matters is he hit the shot that needed to be hit. And essentially it sealed the deal for the Clippers to beat the Mavericks. But going forward, hopefully Paul George starts to get better from a shooting perspective from the field. I was definitely really starting to get irritated. He was really Paul George was really forcing up some shots, like some shots that didn't need to be forced, some need to be thrown. Like, he wasn't fluently or just shooting it like how he typically does. It looked like to me every time, before that dagger 3, he was just trying to get into the paint, or just chucking up shots, and they just wouldn't go in. And again, he's trying to get the foul calls. And it's been one thing I've been hearing too amongst, Clipper Nation on all the other podcasts and everything, is the fact that when, Paul George goes up, he tries to go up like he's trying to get fouled instead of trying to just go up aggressively. And, guess what? You'll probably more than likely get the foul call. But hopefully on Wednesday, I don't know, my stupid dog is my barking, but hopefully on Wednesday against the same Dallas Mavericks team, he has a better performance. Nicholas Batum, who came off the bench, had 12 points, a solid outing for him. I think, Nicholas Batum going to the bench is going to be, I would say, pretty good, because he is still a pretty decent defender, so he's going to help out the second unit on the defense. He was 4 from 6 from the field, had 7 rebounds and 1 assist. He had 4 3-pointers today out of his 6. Patrick Patterson, he only got 7 minutes, but he was pretty productive, even though it was a little bit. Had 5 points, went 2 of 2. What can you ask for? If they're just going to put him in there, then, that's fine. Lou Williams, who was, I would say, pretty productive. I would say he was solid tonight. He also did hit some pretty timely shots at some parts in the game. He finished with the game 5 of 10 from the field. Hit 2 of his 3-point shots, had 1 rebound, 2 assists, and 14 points. That was definitely good for him. Terrence Mann, he also played in this game, but he didn't really do much of anything. He had really 2 rebounds, and that kind of it. And then I forgot to mention, too, on the starting line, Ivica Zubac, who is definitely the player of tonight's game. For some reason, I'm just going to say this. Zubac is the Mavericks killer. Like, this guy literally eats the Dallas Mavericks for breakfast. Like, the Dallas Mavericks, for some reason, have like no option or nothing to stop Zubac. Like every time we play the Dallas Mavericks, other than that 51-point loss, Zubac has been feasting on the Dallas Mavericks, especially when he starts. And speaking of starting, we're going to get into or actually, let me get it a little bit into the Dallas Mavericks stats. Dorian Finney-Smith, 8 points, 3 of 8 from the field. I thought we did a good job for him. Max Kleber, yeah. Porzingis, 22 points, 9 from 14 from the field, hit 3 of his 3 points, had 7 rebounds. Hey, we held Porzingis to 22 points. I'll take it. It's better than having him drop damn near 30 on us. Same to go with Luka Doncic. He only had 25 points. He was 4-11 from 3, 9-23 from the field. Damn, this guy had a triple-double? Holy shit, I didn't even know that. Okay, we beat freaking Luka Doncic with a triple-double today. He definitely looked like he was trying to take over late in the game, but luckily enough, it didn't really happen. So, yeah. Josh Richardson finished with only 6 points. 3 from the field, didn't hit any three-point shot, so thank goodness. Had 2 assists and 3 rebounds. Tim Hardaway Jr. If you've never seen my reactions to the Dallas Mavericks series in the playoffs, I do have those up on the channel. Please go to my LA Clippers playlist and check that out, because I swear, when it came to me talking about my feelings towards Tim Hardaway Jr. when he was killing the Clippers, it's the same reaction I have here. Really? 21 points for Tim Hardaway Jr. That bet not happen in the Wednesday game. Really? Tim Hardaway Jr. 8 from 12 from the field and hit 5 3-point shots. For some reason, this cat likes to always think the Clippers are I don't know. He just turns into Steph Curry. Hopefully we do a better job at guarding Tim Hardaway Jr. because some of the shots he was making this game was flat out impossible. Shots that I usually, whenever I get a chance to watch the Dallas Mavericks, which is not much, I barely see him hitting those shots. The dude was hitting fadeaway shots, hitting 3. I'm like, dude, why is Tim Hardaway Jr. a nuisance in the Clippers side? But every time else I see him, he does nothing. I don't know what he averages in the season, but typically he's averaged around 10 points per game. I hope we do a better job on Wednesday guarding this dude, because I think he's a straight-up bum. Willie Cauley-Stein, he definitely didn't do much damage like he did the first matchup, I'll say that. 6 points, 3 of 5 from the field, had 2 rebounds, and that's kind of it. Trey Burke, did nothing. Good. Again, like Tim Hardaway Jr. Trey Burke, I hated, especially in the playoff series against the Clippers last year. And then Jalen Brunson, who I thought was going to be maybe one of those off-the-bench guys that was going to kill it. In 24 minutes, he went 3 of 4 from the field, hit 2 of his 3-point shots, and finished with 8 points. 2 of 3 assists and 2 rebounds. So that's good. That's fine. That's fine. But anyways, the Clippers, they locked it up. They won tonight. And again, listen, I'm not going to overblow this win. Like, okay, we're good. We're fine. We're wonderful. No, there's still issues on this team that still needs to be fixed. You know, the late game offense, late in that game, I was literally getting antsy because I was like, the same thing is happening like in the Bucks, the Boston, and the Wizards game. Again, like I said, thanks to one timely shot by Kawhi, then an and one shot by Kawhi, and then the dagger 3 from Paul George that essentially sealed the deal. But it's still, you see the ISO ball, hero ball stuff we've been seeing as of late. Again, don't know where the ball movement's at. Some people are still going to say, we need the whole point guard to put guys in their spot. I'm at the point where I'm 50-50 with it. Honestly, I don't really fucking care. At the same time, I can understand where people are coming from. I still think this team might need to make a deal, or especially with how this whole Pat Bev injury thing is going on and stuff like that. We'll see. I'm kind of 50-50 on the whole point guard thing. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Honestly, I'm just going to sit back and watch to see if the Clippers make any moves at the deadline or if they feel confident. I personally think I'm on the more thing that they might have to make a deal now because, I'm starting to really get sick and tired of the Patrick Beverley injury stuff and then some other things. But, but they looked fine. The defense definitely was there tonight. I will say that the defense was definitely there. If there's one thing we can say, the defense definitely was there tonight. The effort was there, so they clearly showed like they cared. They clearly looked like they wanted to come out and say, okay, yeah, last night we embarrassed ourselves. We got an ass kicking. Well, let's get back to work the following night. So yeah, and then the one thing is hopefully this win, starts to build out some consistency. Again, the Wednesday game against Dallas isn't going to be easy, and I freaking hate the fact, especially now we're in this, especially with the pandemic. I know why the NBA is doing it, where they sometimes have these back-to-back games in that sense where you play the same team like 2 times in a row, and like it's a playoff series. The Dallas Mavericks is definitely going to be a tougher game on Wednesday than it was tonight, but essentially just have the same defensive game plan and you should be fine. Now offensively definitely could be better at some cases at some points in the game, especially late in the game, but yeah. Then the next thing I kind of want to talk about is the whole starting lineup change. Now we saw 2 starting lineup changes. Obviously Serge was hurt and Zubac came in to start. And then obviously Ty Lue made the change to make Marcus Morris start over Batum. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I really personally now think going forward, I think Ty Lue needs to make the permanent adjustment and make the starting lineup if there is no changes or no trades happening to anybody on the starting lineup. Which would only probably be Bev, if we're being honest. I would probably say keep the starting lineup from last year and run that going forward, even into the playoffs. Because the starting lineup, obviously you saw at the first part in the first, few minutes of the game, the starting lineup is comfortable, to the point because Kawhi, Paul George, Marcus Morris, and Zubac have all played together from last year, and they looked pretty damn good. And 2, that starting lineup was a pretty good defensive team last year. You can look up the stats. I don't know where they finished, but I think from what Brian Seaman said on the broadcast, they're like a top 5, team, at defense with that respective lineup when they started it. So I think maybe Ty Lue might need to make a permanent adjustment and make, he already did that with Marcus Morris. I think it's time we do that with Ibaka. Maybe we move Ibaka back to the bench and put him on the second unit, and we can have Zoo in the starting unit going forward. Because it seems like the continuity with these players, Paul George, Kawhi, Marcus Morris, and Zoo, they know how to play each other. They know, how to play with each other, because you could see clearly, Paul George and Kawhi, mostly Kawhi was setting up Zoo for some pretty good looks, and they got him started, early and stuff like that. And I think Zoo benefits a little bit more starting than off the bench. And I'm going to be honest, I kind of was, not really on the bandwagon of having Zoo come off the bench. I think even though Zoo does have his own issues, and even though he can look like a deer in headlights at times, I feel like Zoo definitely looks a lot better on the starting rotation or with the starters than as opposed to coming off the bench. Because when he comes in off the bench, it's like, what are we kind of doing? I think Ty Lue might need to make the change, put Ibaka on the bench, and have Zubac starting, and have your starting lineup, if healthy, and if there's no moves made, which I highly doubt. I feel like there is going to be a move made. Your starting lineup could be last year's Pat Bev, Paul George, Kawhi, Marcus, and then obviously Zoo. I think that should be a change that definitely might need to happen, if not should happen, because the team definitely played better when we had our original starting 5. Well, in this case, starting 4 guys from last year. And 2, again, they were comfortable playing with each other because they knew how to play with each other from last year. I think maybe it's time we go that route. So hopefully, maybe when I go back to Twitter, I check to see that Ty Lue or a reporter asked, is the same going to apply to Zoo? Will he be in the starting lineup? Hopefully on Wednesday when Ibaka hopefully comes back, maybe they move Ibaka to the bench and be like, hey, we're going to move you to the bench. We're going to have Zoo take your place on the starting spot. And hey, and I think Ibaka, knowing Ibaka, he's going to be a pretty chill guy about that. But other than that, yeah, Because let's be honest, Zoo does a pretty fairly good job, and he did a really good job guarding, the Mavericks today. Other than really the two alley oops, I didn't really see much of any fault with Zoo. Like I thought Zoo, again, like I said, played a really damn near perfect game. Like he did pretty good guarding Luka. Luka for some reason always struggles whenever Zoo's in the game, and I think even Luka's admitted to the fact that he hates when Zoo, is in the game. And two, what I also did like from Ty Lue is he did, after that one point in the game, when Luka was in the game, when Zoo was in, Ty Lue matched, Luka with or match Zoo with Luka, making sure like, okay, whenever Luka gets back in the game, I'm gonna have Zoo just to counter him to have that rim presence because Luka clearly is affected by Zoo, and stuff like that. But I thought the win was a solid win. Definitely a good win to start building that consistency that we need to see out of this Clipper team. If they're going to make a run, especially if they want to get to where they need to go. And now it's the start of where they need to start being consistent. So hopefully this is the game that starts off that consistency. And they don't have any more mental lapses. I'm not saying they're going to win every game from this point going forward. Let's try not to get blown out like we did against the damn Pelicans. Like at least have some fight, some effort, some passion. So just because you were mad this game doesn't mean going to the Wednesday game. Okay, we did our job. Let's go back to playing what we know. Keep the same aggressiveness. Keep everything you did in that last Mavericks game and translate it to this upcoming Mavericks game and use it going forward on a consistent basis. Because that's the thing about this team I need to see. I need to see the consistency going forward these last few games in the regular season before we get to the playoffs. If I'm seeing on and off, on and off, on and off, then I'm going to have the legit worries by the time we get to the playoffs. So, yeah. Other than that, that's kind of it. So, I like the win. Again, I'm not going to overblow this one like, we just won, the championship or something. But definitely we looked a lot better than we did last night. And this is something, again, we can build upon and hopefully look to the future where this team can improve and get better. But other than that, I'm going to be back for my Clippers game recap on Wednesday. Talk about that Mavericks game, win or lose, whatever happens, and stuff like that. So, other than that, and one more thing I got to mention. I just got to mention this, one more thing. Now, Patrick Beverley's not going to be available for the next game. I'm just going to get this off my chest. If Patrick Beverley is not ready by the Hornets game, which is on Saturday, let's count the days he's been out. So Thursday, half a Thursday. Okay, let's start off with Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and essentially Saturday. That's 9 days you're off, my guy. I think you should be good to, be able to come back for that Hornets game. And again, if Patrick Beverley is not back by that Hornets game, I'm really going to have to question the medical staff. I think 9 games, 9 days off, essentially you sitting at home doing jack diddly squat nothing, because I can envision the Clippers medical staff probably saying, hey, don't do nothing. Please do not do nothing. I think you should be ready to come back by the Hornets game, because 9 days is plenty enough time to rest a sore knee. If he somehow misses that game, now I'm really going to be heated, and I'm going to be like, how about you just trade him away right now? I'm getting sick and tired of this Patrick Beverley crap. He's going to be out 9 games. He's going to be out 9 days. And if he's not back by the Hornets game, I'm really going to have a problem. A sore knee and you're not back in 9 days? Come on. Even I could play a game like that. Trust me. I'll play. I'll go out there and play. I might not play good as Pat Beverley, but I'll go out there. Again, I'm just going to put out the story. Listen, I played college football on a one bum knee, where my knee was essentially partially torn, and I still played until my knee gave out. You're telling me freaking Patrick Beverley can't do that? Hopefully I don't want his knee to get blown out, but I'm just saying, 9 days should be plenty days enough to, rest and freaking heal up that knee. Like, what is he doing? Sitting on his bed all day? walking around, maybe helping his kids or something like that, putting ice on that bad boy. Should be ready by Saturday against the Hornets. So, yeah, but other than that, that's going to get out of here. So if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the video, or your thoughts on this Clippers win, as well as you think the Clippers will be going, will they continue this consistent streak and be consistent doing it, as well as hit the subscribe button to get more Clippers content. So, yeah, hopefully the Golden State Warriors do the Clippers a favor and beat the Lakers tonight, because I would appreciate that for standing purposes. So maybe we can get that 3rd seed potentially. Right now we're still in the 4th seed, and hopefully right now I'm just hoping we stay at the 4th seed, because this team cannot afford to get any more losses, if I'm being honest. So yeah, other than that, well, not any more losses at this point in time, but other than that, I'm the guy for. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Until then, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video. I'll see you guys Wednesday for, again, Clippers Mavericks game recap. Till then, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.